Alabama preview. I'll be honest. After reading about them, I think everybody after last year was like Alabama's vulnerable. That Alabama's not the great Alabama they were just a few years ago. Feeling good. After reading about them, and especially their defense, parts of their defense, I'm like, man, we really caught them at a good time last year.
Oh yeah, that was. It seemed like our chance. Alabama's Alabama still. They're going to reload every single year.
Right.
Even like people were poking fun that I think Tulsa at one point was ahead of them in recruiting, and now they're like the number
2 or 3. Yeah, I think they're number 2 ahead of North Carolina too.
Yeah, so they're just still Alabama.
So here's something crazy before we get into this Alabama team. Last year was their first time. So 2019 season was their first time since 2013 that they haven't played in a national championship or an SEC championship. And then before that, 2010 was the first time.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. Auburn was the reason for both of the times they didn't go. In 2013, the crazy thing about 2013, that was the kick 6. They were a penalty away from probably playing in both.
Or just a few feet from just kicking it.
Or, out of the end zone.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy that they were that away from playing for a national championship or an SEC championship for 9 years straight.
That's
One
insane.
or the other.
That's insane.
Yeah. It just, that goes to show you like how a lot of people, and it's fun to poke fun at Tennessee that they've, gotten the crap kicked out of them by Alabama for going on 12 years now. Mm-hmm. But the truth is the entire country's getting the crap kicked out of them by Alabama. So
yeah, I was reading some stuff and they were talking about how last year was a disappointment. They went 11-2. Mm-hmm. That's.
It shows you Auburn's about the only team that can claim they weren't getting the crap kicked out of them, but there were also a few years that they did get the crap kicked out of them. So, Auburn did get their number a couple times, but you're talking about one of those times being the year Auburn got about as lucky as you can.
Yeah.
That was the same year as the Miracle at Jordan Hare, wasn't it? Or the Prayer at Jordan Hare, whatever they call it.
Yeah, they beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like they had something crazy happen early on in the season, too.
Yeah,
anybody knows it,
they're just
drop it
destined.
in the chat. Right, one of those teams.
Yep.
Because that wasn't a phenomenon. That Auburn team was good, but they were not the Cam Newton Auburn team from a few years prior.
And that's why they got beat.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think they had Nick Marshall and Trey Mason.
Yeah. But getting into this Alabama team, they do lose a little bit. They did play kind of, and we talked about this with a couple players at Tennessee that left for whatever reason, but they did lose Tua, which is probably their biggest loss. You could probably argue Ruggs or Judy, but probably the biggest one's Tua, especially when you talk about what they return in at wide receiver. Tua, but they did play a lot with him. And then I was reading an article, I can't remember who wrote it, this a couple days ago, that said Mac Jones is probably feeling blessed that he didn't have to go through spring practice because he may have lost his job to Bryce Young had he. Yeah. So right now he's going to go into fall camp as a starter, probably starts the year as a starter instead of getting beat out, or I guess at least Bryce Young closing that gap in the season. Mm-hmm. But I think by the time I would be surprised if by the time Tennessee sees him, Bryce Young isn't playing at least. Or given a chance.
And Mac Jones, he struggled against Tennessee, but that was a game he was just thrown in there after Tua got hurt. But the rest of that season, it was kind of smooth for him.
Yeah, you look at the losses on there were outside of probably Auburn. The LSU loss is probably a given, honestly, with the way LSU was playing. I think, wasn't that the week after? Or did Tua play that game? I can't remember when Mississippi State happened.
Yeah, I think they played LSU.
Before Mississippi State?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mac Jones didn't even play in the LSU game. But yeah, when you look at the back half of their schedule, it really wasn't that Mac Jones had to play in. It wasn't terrible for him. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily...
He didn't play against LSU.
Okay. I don't necessarily think they're in a hurry to replace Mac Jones because, like you said, it wasn't an atrocious season by him by any means. But I think the expectations of Bryce Young, I don't know. We'll see. He's a freshman. We'll see. He hadn't played college football yet. Kind of the same thing as Harrison Bailey. He has just as much water to hold as Harrison Bailey.
Yeah, that's the... If you're nitpicking Alabama, their struggle looks to be at quarterback because it's either Mac Jones, who, did not want any part of that Tennessee defense after that game, or a true freshman. So you get one of the two. Bryce Young has that 5-star. He was the number 1 rated quarterback per somebody. But it's still not Tua.
No. Tua is Tua. I mean, if Bryce Young, could he be that? Sure, I guess. I mean, could he? I guess. But there's a reason. What's the younger brother's Tagovailoa's name?
Talia. Yeah.
There's a reason he transferred. I'll say that.
Right.
He knew what was ahead of him and what was coming in.
Yeah.
So there's a reason he transferred. So I'm not saying Bryce Young isn't the guy or anything, or I'm not saying he is the guy, but there's something to him. There is. Yeah. That's the bottom line. We'll see what happens. Either whatever quarterback's in there though is going to have a ton of help when you look at who they return at receiver, and then Najee Harris.
Yeah. So they lose Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, but they get Devontae Smith and who's
Jalen Waddle. And Devontae Smith was their leading receiver last year.
Yeah, in yards and touchdowns.
Yeah. 20 touchdowns.
14.
So I guess it was 20. Oh, that's Najee Harris had 20 touchdowns total. Yeah. I think 13 rushing, 7 receiving.
Yeah, so they have, I mean, next, and they also return, you mentioned Najee Harris, Alex Leatherwood, Dylan Moses, who, and Patrick Surtain, those 4 guys right there are first-round draft picks.
Right, and I did mention their defense is, a little more concerning if the guys stay healthy, because a lot of the guys they lost last year, I think they lost DJ Dale and LeBron Ray to injury. I think Ray sat out like 10 games last year.
Yeah,
or was he the one that got injured against LSU?
They're playing 3 true freshmen at one point.
Right, and they do lose a lot in the secondary, though. That's why I said, they do scare me to an extent. I mean, they lost the
Diggs, Xavier McKinney.
One of the higher-rated safeties coming out of college football, or out of Alabama, and they do. I think everybody's starting there. I don't think there's a single returning starter in the secondary.
Surtain is the only one.
All right, and so that gives you a little bit of hope, but also Alabama reloads. They do. It's not a huge knock on them. You're not looking there and going, oh, there's a 4-star, a guy you're hoping develops, or blah blah. These guys come in, and they do have to develop into that talent, but Nick Saban's got a plenty good track record to do it. So I don't think you're sitting there going, well, the secondary's not going to be good. Is there a chance? Yeah, absolutely. There's a chance those guys don't pan out, or maybe there's more injuries, or whatever. But I think or assume that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and they play a lot of man. I mean, look what Clemson did to them a couple years ago. I mean, they just one-on-one, Clemson's receivers just made plays and beat them down the field. So that's that if you're nitpicking Alabama, inexperience at
pretty much you have to nitpick them if you want to find something wrong.
Right, it's quarterback inexperience, or it's just not Tua,
right,
or their inexperience in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, that's about the only thing you really have on, and then Alabama special teams.
Yeah,
but outside of their returners, I think was it
Waddle,
who was the returner,
or
the all SEC.
Ruggs
was it Ruggs? I thought it was okay.
Because Ruggs
was a returner.
The facts,
someone returning.
Yeah.
Okay, it was Ruggs though. Was an all SEC returner. So and then you got guys like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. I would be very, very curious to see how many yards after catch they had last year. I didn't look that up.
It's a lot.
I guarantee you a ton of yards after catch. They were catching a lot of stuff at 7 yards and going and scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
The yak was probably very good. So those guys can make plays with the ball in their hand.
Against Western Carolina, Mac Jones was 10 for 12. He had 275 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And 10 of those completions were 6 of them were probably slants.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It is stupid. And that's another thing, though, too. The offensive line, they returned 4 or 5 starters. So, the offensive line is just going to get better if they can.
Right.
They're just going to get better. It's going to be tough to get pressure. And then, Alabama's not going to – they've started running all the RPO crap. They're not going to get they get all the leeway when it comes to linemen downfield. So don't even try to get it. It ain't going to happen. You're going to have to play against the guys in stripes, too. It's not that simple to try to really necessarily scheme against the RPO.
Right. I think this year, and I think this happened last year, is if you can get Alabama in the meat of their schedule, which we do.
That is a good thing.
There is some. They have to play USC in Dallas, and then
I thought that game has it not gotten canceled?
I
thought Pac-12 said no. I think Pac-12 said no.
I just assume everything's up in the air still.
I think Pac-12 said no conference games. I think right now, I saw an article where they may be playing BYU.
Okay.
In the opener now.
So BYU's they're worse than USC, but they have to play.
Are they? I don't know what
we should have beat them
last year.
Yeah,
were they worse than USC this year? Maybe.
I think
USC should get better.
I don't know. Yeah, USC should be better.
I think right now Southern Cal is still listed on their official website, Alabama's. But I thought I saw.
I don't know if it's canceled or not.
Yeah,
I assume it was up in the air. I thought when they said like the stuff with California and
right
everything that they were just gonna have a backup plan.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I'm trying to find. 4 days ago, it said Alabama can meet Notre Dame in the opener. And then 4 days ago, it also said, another article said, report BYU and Alabama may meet in season opener. So I guess they're probably looking at playing a independent is what that means.
Okay.
Maybe both of those teams open with Pac-12 or Big Ten opponents. Because wasn't that the two conferences that have already said no out of conference games?
I don't remember who about BYU. I'm pretty sure they were on that Big Ten one that I was looking.
Gotcha. So Notre Dame had Wisconsin, Stanford, and USC on their schedule, and yeah, those have all been canceled because those games have been canceled because of the. So yeah, that means Alabama's no longer playing USC.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, they still have to play a decent opponent in
Right.
Dallas, in Jerry's world, and then the third game of the season they play Georgia will be a top 5 matchup probably.
Yeah, it should be. And outside of that, they shouldn't have any problem. I mean, maybe Lane Kiffin creates some issue. I mean, that's a good thing about Ole Miss and Mississippi State, I guess. I guess Arkansas gets a new coach, but there's no talent, right? There's no talent there to cause any issues.
I remember last year that Ole Miss, I mean, they got beat by LSU, but it was like close. And Ole Miss put up a lot of points. I like that John Plumlee, Plumlee,
I think.
Yeah, he's gonna be good.
Well, I mean, so is that the good thing about getting a guy like Lane Kiffin, who you know is probably going to at least scheme a good game? Maybe he gives Alabama a good check, and then talk about a guy like blanking on his name, Mike Leach at Mississippi State. That's going to at least make you defend him all game.
Yeah,
like he's going to throw up points.
Yeah, with the inexperienced secondary, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I think you got to get. I don't know. Last year, it seemed like that was our time to get over the hump, and we took matters into our own hands, I guess. And but Jeremy Pruitt's gonna have it seems like he has a different gear when he faces Alabama.
I think last year the Alabama game was the turning point for him. Of I'm the effing head coach of Tennessee.
Yeah.
So,
and it's at home. I don't know if that. It might not help us much this year, but it doesn't hurt us. It is a home game. I don't know.
Kind of sucks that this home game probably is not going to be played in front of any fans or not many fans, and you're kind of thinking
we're on the verge of not catching up, but being like right there competitive with Alabama.
It's very obvious in what Jeremy Pruitt said at halftime and what he said after the game, and I think even said the next week at South Carolina or after South Carolina that Jeremy Pruitt was not happy with the coaching staff, the officiating. And he's the head coach, so you know the team feels that way.
Yeah.
So they were gonna come in with a little bit of fire, I'm sure. Not just against Alabama, but like against the SEC officials, against I would have been very excited to see what a 102,000 crowd could have done, at least for a half. For the first half.
If there's a true freshman quarterback, you think that doesn't make a difference? It does.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate that you just got to live with that, but
maybe it motivates them even more. I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea.
Or maybe Alabama's used to like all eyes on them all the time, that they're just like thrown off.
Maybe. The bet said Pac-12 went conference only. Thank you. I couldn't remember, honestly. I second guessed myself. I guess I shouldn't have. And then Sports Living in the ATL said, "Hey, I'm here because of Carter." What's up, man?
What's up?
Sports Live in the ATL. I don't know what I said.
But I think
good to have you.
To beat Alabama, you're going to have to rattle whoever the quarterback is. You have to get some kind of pass rush.
And I think
that's difficult because that's a question mark going into the season.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I think that's part of what made Mac Jones ineffective. You've seen, I mean, you saw, and I realize Mac Jones is not or Jalen Hurts, but you saw a couple years ago where they just rolled quarterbacks in and out of there at the end of the season in the SEC championship game and the college football playoff, and they went off without a hitch. So Alabama usually does not have a problem. I shouldn't say usually because that's very rare for Nick Saban to do that. But then you go back to, was it Lane Kiffin's last year at Alabama when they had that quarterback controversy at the beginning of the year, and then Blake Barnett eventually.
Blake Sims.
Blake Sims?
Blake Barnett.
Who's Blake Barnett? I don't know. That name sounded right. Eventually transferred at the beginning of the year, and they had no problems moving quarterbacks in and out. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily an issue for him.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the things that like you want to nitpick Alabama about, it's things like Tennessee doesn't have it for sure. Like, oh, we're going to be good at that. Like getting a pass rush.
Right.
Also, inexperienced secondary. We don't really know what the wide receivers group's going to look like. So that's kind of an issue. So, I mean, yeah, looking back, like when we were talking about the 4 games, like which one do we think Tennessee has a better chance at? I thought Alabama would be higher up there, but now I'm thinking like that's probably our hardest game.
Right.
When I did a little bit of research on them.
Yeah, I felt good, I guess, kind of looking back at last year and looking at what Tennessee gained and Alabama lost. And I knew kind of what I vaguely knew what Alabama gained just because you know what they gain every year relatively. But yeah, I felt better. And then I read and I was like, I don't feel good because I think everybody expected Ruggs and Judy to be the best wideouts. Turns out that's, probably the case, but not technically the case.
Yeah, there's two just
as good.
Yeah.
And so that makes you feel. And then you talk about the guys that they didn't even have on defense when Tennessee saw them last year. You're like, man, that sucks. So it is what it is. And I don't think Tennessee's out of it by any means. It's just going to be it's going to take a lot of. It's one of those games that Tennessee's going to have to do a lot right, and Alabama's going to have to do a lot wrong for it to happen.
To smoke those cigars.
Yeah. Wouldn't it kind of suck for this to be the year? Like, we wouldn't get to smoke a cigar in Neyland.
That would suck.
Would tattoo shops be open for me to go get my ass tat?
Oh, yeah. You just got to wear a mask on your ass.
It's a Nard pup. Yeah, it's one of those. So, I don't know. We'll see. You know what? Here's the thing. When it comes down to when October 23rd rolls around, no matter how I felt that week, no matter how Tennessee played against South Carolina, on October 23rd, that night, I'll be drinking, probably smoking a cigar, just so my lungs are ready. And someone's going to go, Caleb, how do you feel about tomorrow? And I'm going to, without hesitation, tell you that Tennessee's going to win. So
I got to get my lung. I've never smoked a cigar in my life. So I'm wondering if I should just save that. Or should I start smoke?
No, you have to save that. Okay. If I could go back and someone was like, you shouldn't smoke a cigar until Tennessee beats Alabama, first of all, I'd be like, I never get to smoke. That sucks. But, yeah, I'd wait. Definitely. Okay. Yeah. Sports Live in the ATL, he said he's checking us out, and he asked if we're Braves fans. I'm not much of a baseball fan. If I have to claim one team, I'd claim the Cubs.
Hey, Chicago, so, what do you say?
Yeah. Probably because of Rookie of the Year. That's probably where my brother was a Cubs fan.
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah. So that's probably it. And you're a Yankees fan.
I'm a Yankees
because
fan.
You suck.
Yeah. Because I'm the worst.
Yankees suck. Yeah, Braves are all right though. If there's a Nashville team, I will transfer my fandom because I'm a Tennessee guy. That's how I do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun to have a Nashville team.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not like tied to the Braves because they're close.
No,
because Cincinnati's almost just as close.
I did watch Braves games growing up because they were on TV, kind of like Titans games, but I'm not much of a fan.
Yep.
It is what it is. Yeah, Cubs and Yankees. I know that's not a great combination for East Tennessee fans. There are a lot of East Tennessee Cubs fans, I assume, because of the Smokies. I assume
you should say that. You should use that.
I should. And I did go up there and watch. I can't remember his name now. But I've been up there to watch a couple Cubs players that are rehabbing at the Smokies when I was younger. When my brother was like taking me to games.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I don't know. I guess that's the connection to. I don't know. Yeah.
The Cubs.
Yeah, NHL. Definitely Nashville. Definitely Nashville sports. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
NHL. Are you gonna watch NHL when it comes back?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it all.
So it's all playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like NHL is.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And then the MLB starts tomorrow. Yankees play tomorrow.
Starts exhibition. No. MLB started on.
Or what did I say?
You just said they started.
Oh, MLB started. MLB starts tomorrow.
The actual games do?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was about to say exhibition was Tuesday night.
NBA, they're starting exhibitions today, I think, and then
They have a game Thursday.
the 30th is when they start their season.
Oh, I guess I did an exhibition game then, or maybe have to wait till the 30th. I did a FanDuel, fantasy team for Thursday night.
Yeah, it'd be next Thursday. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well that sucks. I have to wait till Thursday. But it was like $4.
Yeah, I think it's the 30th. That's Thursday, right?
Or maybe they do maybe they're doing fantasy for exhibition games. I have no idea. Yeah, we pretty much just talk college sports. When it's NFL season, we're primarily football. When it's NFL season, we'll talk some NFL. And then if there's I guess there's big news around sport. We'll talk about big news around sports all the times, but mainly Tennessee college football. That's our wheelhouse.
Yep.
We're professionals, okay? Put it that way.
We've done this a time or two.
Yeah. Anything else for the Alabama before first off? Anything else about the Alabama team? Because I do have a couple questions regarding the Alabama game.
I just hate the whole state of Alabama.
Yeah, I'll have to remind me to do the outro to We Don't Give a Damn.
Okay.
Okay, so Alabama have played 7 games, 4 SEC opponents. By the time we see them, record 7-0.
Yeah,
I think so. 7, I think could be 7-0, 6-1. Georgia could be a hiccup. I think that could create
is it at Georgia?
It is in Tuscaloosa.
Okay,
but there's no fans. Home field isn't going to be much.
Right.
Yeah, not much. Sports Loft said he shared it, and we're Titans fans. Yeah, I'm a Titans fan. I guess you're a Carolina fan.
Yeah, I'm a Carolina fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep up with the Titans. I don't know.
Again, I think the Titans is one of those things kind of similar to the Braves. I think there would be a lot more Braves fans in the area if they were really good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like if the Falcons were really good, I think you'd even see more Falcons fans in Knoxville because they're Atlanta. I think Atlanta at least used to be on TV a lot in this area.
The Braves or the Falcons?
The Falcons, sorry.
Yeah,
the Braves still are.
Yeah, they're on the NFC South, but a lot of the Falcons I think are considered regional, so they black them out.
Yeah,
which is so dumb.
That's not as much of a problem anymore with the streaming.
Yeah, right.
It used to be though. Back a couple years ago. Okay, so Alabama 7-0, 6-1. You going Tennessee to win? Are you going to convince yourself on July 22nd that Tennessee's going to beat Alabama?
No.
Okay, I'm not either. I'm waiting until October 23rd.
Yeah, I'll wait.
They do play LSU the next week. Maybe some heads peeking forward for a revenge game.
Ooh, I like that.
That's that's going to be the talk of that week.
Oh yeah,
it is. So that's exciting. We got that going for us.
Yeah, anything that we can put in Tennessee's favor, we're going to do it.
And then does Tennessee have a bye week? The week before again? Did we get lucky again? We do.
We do.
We do.
So we have a bye week before Alabama?
Yes. They play Mississippi State. Then us, and then LSU. I love that. Is this the most friendly schedule yet? And then we're gonna go to a 10-game SEC schedule, and they're gonna schedule us LSU and Ole Miss, and we just got effed.
Dang, they play LSU at Baton Rouge too.
Yeah.
Woo!
Tennessee plays Arkansas the next week. We should just go to that game. Oh no, they're bye weeks. No, we play Kentucky. You gotta be here for the Kentucky game. Can't go to Death Valley for that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a home game.
Yeah. Nothing we can do.
Yep.
If it was the week of the Arkansas game, I would be telling us to let's go to Death Valley for that. Even if we don't get to go to the game,
it'd be a night game, and Tennessee would probably get a noon slot.
Tennessee be at noon. We could watch that game at a and everyone would be pissed. Why are we watching a Tennessee game? A Tennessee versus Arkansas game.
Eat some crawfish.
I'd love nothing more.